Welcome. Yes, it is I, DJ Brandon here with Pioneer DJ, and it's been a while. It's been a long while. We last did a happy hour show last June after NAMM, and here we are pre-NAMM. We're doing a happy hour because we got a lot of gear to talk about. We wanted to give you a heads up before we get to the NAMM show. We actually launched something today, brand new today, the DDJ-FLX10. That's not enough. Recently, we launched the OPUS-QUAD, another all-in-one controller with 4-deck control off one USB drive. And we've got the Express speakers, the Express 2 that we just launched. And in front of me, I'm going to be going over this in a little bit, the DJM-A9. This is in the line of the 900 series. So this is the new club standard with a lot of cool new features and things I'm going to talk about. But it just wouldn't be happy hour without a little tip of something. So I'm going to just reach over here to Mr. Cup. Of course, I've got my ever-present production team. There we are. So you know that we're actually having a beverage. We've got JP behind the wheel today. So to everybody, cheers. I hope you've all been well. Hope you finished out 2022 in a good way. 2023, we're already into late March. It's hard to believe, but we're a third of the way, quarter of the way through the year. I mean, it's flying. So cheers to everybody. I'm going to be joined in a little bit by PJ. He's going to be talking about the OPUS-QUAD, giving you a little more in-depth. And we've got Pulse, who's going to go into depth on the DDJ-FLX10. Again, the Flex 10 came out today if you're watching this live. Even if this is a recording you see down the road, by then you'll know a lot more about the Flex 10, but we did want to talk about that. One of the first things I want to talk about, I've got them a little bit off screen. I've got the Express 2 speakers. For a wooden box speaker coming in a 10, a 12, a single 15 sub, and a single 18 sub, pretty amazing. Wooden boxes at a price point that you won't believe. Go to pioneerdj.com. You can check them out. If you want to see some of the videos and presentations we've done on them already, all you have to do is go to any of our social media channels. Pioneer DJ USA, that's our handle for Facebook, for TikTok, for Twitch, for Instagram, for YouTube. They're all Pioneer DJ USA. So you can check out videos, different things we've done on the speakers. We just had them out in Las Vegas. I was there with my friend Pulse. We were at the MEX show, the Mobile Entertainment Expo. Really well received. One of the things they have, if you're a multi-op, where you're working a lot of different venues that I think you're going to love, in the DSP, they have a user program. What you can do is you can set everything on the speaker ahead of time. Get to the venue, dial it in the way you want it, then go to the user program and name it something. Let's say it's a hotel, it's a club, it's whatever. You can have up to 16 of these programs stored so that if you have another DJ or you go to a venue enough times, you can't remember quite how you did the settings, go into user programs on the DSP menu, find that venue, hit enter, and now the speaker will reconfigure itself to the settings that you had when you were last at that venue or that similar setup. So really great, especially mobile guys that have other DJs using their gear, or even, like I said, if you're doing a lot of venues repeatedly and you've dialed in your sound, you want to be able to lock that in. And that's something that's offered in the new Express 2. Again, in a 10-inch top, a 12-inch top, a single 15 sub, and a single 18 sub. And even though they're wooden boxes, the single 18 sub weighs under 70 pounds. So you're not going to blow your back out. It's easy to maneuver. You can get it in and out of your van, truck, SUV easily. Get it on a rock and roll cart and you're good to go. So here in front of me, I have the setup that everybody talks about, that everybody wants. I have an RMX 1000. I have 3 CDJ 3000s, and I have a DJS 1000. But what I want to talk to you about today to start the show is this. This is our newest club standard industry, every name and any name you can think of, mixer. This is the DJM-A9. It's a new name. It's a little bit bigger, but it's carrying on the history that we've had going back to what I would say the DJM 500. Way back in the day, we started with the 500 for clubs and mobile, went up to the 600. That was a little better. Went up to the 800. Amazing. Went up to the 900, which you all know today is the DJM 900 Nexus 2. And that really went through 4, believe it or not, configurations. The 900, the SRT, which had a Serato sound card, Nexus, and the 900 Nexus 2. This is carrying on that lineage. So there's some key features on it that I want to go over with you. So we're going to start up here on the top left side. And the first thing you're going to notice is this antenna. This is because this now not only has Wi-Fi, if you're going to be using an app that we're coming up with called Stagehand, but it also allows for Bluetooth. So if you want to send Bluetooth signal from a phone, from an iPad, you don't have to worry about finding that mini cord with 2 RCAs on the other end and the adapter to go Lightning. That's gone. Now you can Bluetooth directly into this mixer. Up here at the top, you're going to notice very quickly we have 2 inputs for USBs from laptops. But what we've changed, and we've joined the times, it's 2023, we're offering USB-C on both of them as well as USB-B. So the standard USB-B, you're still good to go. You've got a new computer and you've got all USB-C cables, no problems with it. You're good to go. Coming down, we've got the 2 microphones, and we've added microphone effects that people have been asking for. The effects are launched right here. We've got echo, which everyone loved on the S11. We follow that with pitch, so you can have fun with the voice. And then we have a megaphone, which sounds just like I said, a megaphone. You've got your parameter for that. We also added reverb. A lot of people ask for reverb because they might do karaoke or have a singer at a wedding or a party. They wanted to put a little reverb on the voice. Of course, you can always do that in the beat effects, but we wanted to give you a dedicated one in case you were using a different effect for a different channel. The other thing we've changed, and I really enjoy this, we're all used to toggling microphones on and off. We now have a button. So here at the bottom, you see this on-off button. This is to engage the microphone. I love that. For me personally, to just tap a button, speak, tap a button, get off, couldn't be happier. Coming over a little bit, 48-volt button. What is that for? Phantom power for a microphone. A lot of people doing condenser mics now when they're doing a podcast, they're doing a Twitch set, they're doing Instagram Live, TikTok Live, and they want that phantom power because they want to use a condenser microphone. We now have a button for it. So if that's what you've been doing and wondering how to get around it without adding another mixer, we now have that opportunity for you. Then we come down to Bluetooth, you can engage that, or MIDI. We've taken the color effects and we put them on top of each other here, not side by side. So the 6 effects are in 2 rows, not 3 across, but 2 down. One of the things right above it, you see this, it says center lock. I have it on. When it's off, the light goes out. I'm going to turn it on without any audio. You're going to see very quickly why this is great. Here are the knobs I use for all the color effects. If I turn a knob to the left and I've got a filter on, filter takes effect. I then have to slowly or quickly bring it back and find that neutral point where the effect is no longer in audio. What center lock does is it locks it. So no matter how hard I turn it back, it stays right at 0. Now, if I let go and touch it again, I can go in the other direction, turn the effect, locks off, and go in both directions. But this is incredible because I've oftentimes left a little filter on, bring in another track, start the mix and go, something doesn't sound right. Look down and see that, oh, it's off just a little bit. So I'm getting audio. Now, the other thing here, you see 2 buttons for headphones. We now offer what you once saw only offered on the Tour 1 system. We now have 2 headphone cues. DJ on decks 1 and 2, DJ on decks 3 and 4. You can now listen independent of each other and cue either tracks or your own. Back-to-back DJs, amazing. Somebody just wants to hear what you're mixing off to the side, same thing. They can cue and hear all the mixes that you're doing. The 4 decks now offer not only the 2 USB inputs, but each deck has phono inputs. You can run 4 turntables with the new DJM-A9. Coming down here, we've got the Magbell fader for your crossfader at the bottom. Really smooth. It's got adjustment points. Incredible piece. Coming now over to here to the effects. We've offered 3 new effects. Mobius, which is one of my favorite effects. I'm just going to put a little audio on here. And you can adjust the beats to get an extension on it or cut it. Sounds like a laser. Or starts to fall. Now here's the best part. You can go through and have it go in the other direction. So it sounds like it's falling or it sounds like it's coming up. And all that's done by picking the beat that I'm going to choose on it. One of the other cool effects I've got right here is triplet roll, where I can now capture triplets in a roll. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a section of the song. I'm going to engage it. I'm going to turn the track off. And again, I can go through and pick all the way up to 12/3. So if I've cut it too tight, you'll hear it drop off. So again, I can just get the track going, do it as an 8/3, cut it. Now I've got the roll. I can cut it down. I can bring it up. I can leave it in the mix. The track isn't playing any longer. I've killed that off. The other cool one that I really like is triplet filter. This is triplet filter engage. So again, I'm capturing triplets, but I'm putting a filter on it. So it gets a really cool ebb and flow underneath, almost as if I was turning a filter effect on itself. Really, really cool. Again, those are the 3 new beat effects that we're offering. One of the things that if you're using Rekordbox DJ right now to analyze your tracks and do your settings for CDJs, this is going to be a big one. Here in this big menu I've got up here, you can now go in and set all the settings, and I mean all the settings. You can set the settings for each effect, how you want it to play, what beat value you want to give it. You can do all that in Rekordbox. Show up, put your USB drive in a CDJ, go on the mixer if it's linked up, and have those settings load. So all that work you'd normally do at the club and try to remember what you had it set at that night that was really cool, you can do all that ahead of time, save it, and now you've got all your things loaded. The other cool option we offer now on this, with a microphone, you're in a club environment where you've got monitors, there's a setting where you can engage when the microphone is on, the monitors automatically shut off. So pretty cool thing to have, especially if you're doing club work and you're constantly getting hit with monitors. That's not everything by any stretch. Here's a little sneak preview though. It looks like we're going to be back to see you in about a month right after NAMM, and we're going to do a little deeper dive. I'm going to have Pulse and PJ at that show as well, maybe some other guests, and we're going to deep dive the A9 along with other gear. But I just wanted to give you some of the things that I find incredible about this piece of gear. So that's the DJM-A9. What I'd like to do now is bring in PJ, bring in Pulse, see if you've had any questions that are in the comments right now. Be happy to answer them. We're going to be here going over each piece of gear. So of course, any questions you have, if we don't answer them now, you can still ask them during the show and we can get back to you. And when this gets to YouTube, you can of course make comment questions. We'll do our best to get those answered for you as well. So I see Pulse, I see PJ. Gentlemen, welcome. It's been a minute. Welcome back to Happy Hour.
Cheers. How you doing?
I've actually been here in the room the whole time.
Cheers.
So I didn't even know the show wasn't going on.
Is that why your hair is so long? They locked you away in the green room there?
Yes. It's you know, that thing with that thing we had with that thing.
Yeah, glad to be back.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys are here. I got to work with you, Pulse, last month. We were in
the Mech show was a lot of fun. Got to hear those speakers for the first time. They're impressive. I'm waiting for a pair to be shipped up. So Canada's waiting.
Nudge, nudge. Okay, yeah, there you go. We'll get that squared away. PJ, how have you been? I know you've got a couple 70-degree days, so you're not freezing like I was worried about you.
It's 70 degrees some days and then 20 degrees the next.
I saw you barbecuing on your Instagram page the other day with snow everywhere. I got a little concerned. But
yeah.
It was a very Canadian moment. I gave him 2 thumbs up for that.
Yeah, no, that was I've done that in the rain. I did that in the rain the other night. So it's early in the show. I know we didn't make a lot of noise about the show, but we really wanted to make an effort to get out and get the information out to all of our great fans and end users about this great new gear. Are there any questions in the chat by any chance about the DJM-A9 that I could answer or that one of you may like to jump in on?
Yeah, there's a couple of questions here. One from Dan Green.
Okay.
He asks, how does center lock feel when it's off? Does it feel like a regular color effect? Basically, like, does the knob feel probably the same as before when it's off?
I'll be completely honest with you, Dan. There's a click. When it's off, there's still a noticeable click when you get to that. The pitch faders, when they click lock, they don't do it on the 3000, but on other units, you'll have that click when you get to zero.
Center detent, yeah.
Yeah, it does the same thing when it's turned off. So you know where you are. But when you turn it on, it's amazing. And I've done this without power to the unit. So I know that it works this way right out of the box. At least if it's been left on, it really locks it right there. And, I've had too many times where I put a filter on to get into the mix, leave it on, get the next track, and either don't hear it or something, and it doesn't sound quite right. So I really like this feature. I hope that this ends up on controllers and everything else, because I think it's a great feature. But yeah, there is a discernible small click. And if you can see, I don't know if you can pick it up on the camera, but right now I'm turning it pretty quickly and there's a small little click. So it's just letting you know when you've hit that 0 point. So I think it's going to be a benefit in the long run, Dan. So thanks for the question. Anything else we can go over for anybody?
Yeah, for sure. The next question is from Ryan Monte. Is the A9 compatible with Bluetooth headphones?
It doesn't have a send unit on it. It's for receiving audio. So if you were at an event normally, as I said, and I'm sure we've all done this. In fact, I carry a mini to RCA cable and a female mini to lightning adapter. Get to an event, you have to play something off your phone, off an iPad, and you just go into a channel. The beauty of this is you'd find this network and this mixer under your Bluetooth options, pick it, and then you can be sending audio. So what I really like about it is being able to walk around a room and have a little more sense of, oh, let me try this song instead, and I don't have to run back and change it. A lot of you probably realize I'm doing cavernous rooms. Most of my events have 20, 30,000 people at them. So it's important I have a better sound sense of it. But even on a small event, let's say 5,000 or 6,000 people, it's still a great thing to be able to send the audio in via Bluetooth. PJ, any other questions? Anything I can answer?
We got two more questions. So one from Bucket Base Official, and I'll take this question. It's does it have direct recording to USB? And while you can't record directly to a USB stick, you can use the DJM-Rec app and record there. You can even stream with it as well. But through the USB, through a mobile device, you can record to your phone or your iPad, just not a USB stick from the mixer itself. So,
right. And I don't think I really touched on that, and that's a great point. But it does have the send return capability, not only in the back of it for a hardwired thing, such as an RMX 1000 or an EFX 1000, but it also allows you to put an iPad in via USB on the top right here. And that lets you select whether you want to go send return in the back, or if you want to use like the RMX 1000 app, which if you haven't seen it, I think it's $10 in the App Store. It's incredible. So you can, that started really with the DJM-900 Nexus 2, bringing the USB capabilities to the top right, where you could get and bypass other things by only focusing on that. So that's where you'd want to set up the Rec app.
All right, next question, or last question by DJ Kenneth. Why the antenna?
The antenna, again, is for Bluetooth as well as Wi-Fi. I'm not going to go really deep into the Wi-Fi, but it can be seen as a network if you're using an app. We're working on an app right now that would speak to this and allow some of the control. So it makes it easier to just get the antenna in first so that when the app is prepared, it's already to go. And the same thing with Bluetooth. We wanted to give it a little bit more distance as far as where you can be in the room using Bluetooth. And with so many interferences these days, having the antenna just seemed like the smart way to go. The antenna does go down. You can turn it down, you can push it under. So you're not going to do your whole gig with this antenna sticking up. It's 360 movement. But yeah, that was really the mainstay design that we wanted to set up ahead of time.
Awesome. And that's it for questions. Yeah.
And again, throughout the rest of the show and presentations, feel free to put up other questions into the chat. If that's good on the A9 for now, I think we're going to hand it over to PJ. PJ, you're going to be talking about CDJ-700, something about a historical thing.
No, today we're talking about the OPUS-QUAD.
Oh, OPUS-QUAD, even better. Our newest all-in-one controller with a bunch of surprises that I think people that don't know yet are going to be really excited about. So if you've got everything set up on your end, I think I'll take Pulse and myself out of the picture and let you do your thing with the OPUS-QUAD. Okay?
For sure. And we'll see you guys in a bit. So let me get this so you guys can see the OPUS-QUAD right here. So let me increase the size. There we go. So this is our brand new OPUS-QUAD all-in-one DJ system. It's for the pro DJs that need gear to fit the aesthetics of their environment without compromising the professional features. So it's a one-of-a-kind design. You can see that it has the fan shape where it fans out over here, angles. It's really unique. It's something we've never done before. It has a 5-degree tilt, which you can see from this camera angle I'm going to show right over here. It actually is thicker on this side than it is over here, and it's rounded up in the front. So that way when you rest your hand, it's comfortable. It does have that earth toned side that you see. It goes from the sides to the front and to the other side. And the jog sides are also, has this artistic pattern, which also is very grippy. And it also has these jog LEDs. And what's really cool about these jog LEDs is you're not stuck to this one color. This is a 4-deck all-in-one system, and you can change the color of the jogs for every single deck. So if I want red here, purple over here, and then deck 3 will do yellow, deck 4 will do green. So when I switch my deck, I have a unique color per deck, so it's a lot easier to remember when you're on the secondary deck versus the primary deck. So next, the sound quality on this, it uses ESS technology with 32-bit floating converters. That's the DAC. And like I said, it's 4-deck standalone playback. So that means if you have one USB stick, you have all 4 decks here. The waveform changes when you switch the deck, and you can see that right on the screen. So there's multiple media sources. So like over here, we see our 2 USB-A ports. That's standard on all Pioneer DJ all-in-one DJ systems. But on the back, there's also a USB 3.2 A port that you could use for a solid-state drive. So if you have an external drive, you can use that for more speed. And also it has a USB Type-C port for DJ software, built-in Wi-Fi for streaming music from Rekordbox Mobile or Rekordbox Cloud Direct Play. And it also has Bluetooth input. And you can pull up the Bluetooth input on deck 4 or deck 3. Let's put this back on the decks. And what's cool about this system is it also has a zone output. There's a zone volume knob right here. And the way the zone works is you can play music independently to another room, control the volume, and the zone output is routed. You can route it for channel 3, channel 4, or the master. You can toggle it on or off over here. And like I said, assignable to channel 3 and 4. And let's say you have a song or a mix or a playlist on a Bluetooth device, you could play it and channel it out to the zone while you're still mixing in the main room. So it's total control. You don't have to have an independent device when you have a separate room, like a cocktail room, that you just need background music for. That's what the zone is for. So let's talk about the display. It has a 10.1-inch electrostatic touch module. It's easier to find tracks. So when I scroll here, I see more. I can control the size of the font, so I could zoom in. It's a lot faster at searching for tracks. Also, tracks do load a lot faster than before. If you're an open format guy that needs to load tracks in 2 to 3 seconds, it could do it faster than that. The search function, let's go source, lets you type search the songs that you want to look for. So it brings out this QWERTY keyboard right on the bottom. It's pretty comfortable because it is a big screen. Go back to playlist. And there's this thing called touch preview, and I'm going to pull out my headphones right now so you can hear what goes on with touch preview. So what touch preview is you don't have to load a song to hear it in your headphones. If you just want to hear what the song sounds like. If you have a big library, sometimes you forget what a song sounds like. So if I touch this, and I can scrub through it. I know that's a little loud. Let's go. So if you just need a quick preview of the track, you can do that just by scrolling through it and touching the little waveform on the side of the track. So The other cool thing is there's this smart rotary system, and the rotary works the way you expect it. You know, there's push button and then there's the scrolling, but it's also a joystick. So if you do a left movement, it'll also do something similar to the touch preview, but it'll start it at the beginning of the track. If you do the right movement, it starts it in the middle. So it's additional control for previewing tracks that aren't loaded. And if you go up down, it skips 10 songs. So that way, if you have a really long list, you could go up and down really easily. So there's also optimized deck configuration. There's 2 displays that show deck info that's in addition to the main touch display. And there's 8 hot cues in a 1x8 array. So it's just like the CDJs where it's 8 hot cue buttons all in one line. And there's this new feature called Smart Cue, and I'm going to show you how this works. So what Smart Cue is, well, the way you would say do your queuing previously is, say you want a hot cue to be your current cue. You would have to hit the hot cue, bring it back on the jog wheel, and then set the current cue. And that takes about 3 or 4 moves. What Smart Cue does is we're going to go into the utility and we're going to enable this. Go to deck, go to overwrite current cue with hot cue. We're going to turn this on. And now each one of our cues, when we hit our hot cue, notice the current cue turns to the color of the hot cue, because in one movement, you can change your current cue to whatever that hot cue is. So it's just one movement to reset your current cue. You don't need to do the whole bring it back and set the cue. It's really great for going through your sections. It's also good for, scratch samples. I want to scratch my ah. Now I have ah on the current cue. Now I have. Notice the colors changing. So that's how Smart Cue works. Now let's talk about the beat effects. So this rotary encoder knob right here, it's similar to how the DJM-A9 is in selecting the effect, but instead of having a selector switch of the effect, when you move this encoder knob, you can see all the effects right on the touchscreen. So when you're scrolling up and down, you see all of it. It's a lot bigger, a lot easier to see. And to assign the beat effects, all you have to do is touch the touchscreen underneath the deck. If you notice, each one of the decks are lined up with the physical deck of the channel. And all you have to do to assign the beat effects is just touch it right below, including master. So let's put this on channel 1. Now, if we open the beat effects display, it opens this XY pad that you can do some effects with it, like it's a multi-effect that goes with your beat effect. So say I want to go onto echo. I'm going to turn on my level depth knob. It's a combination of an echo and a filter. Okay. And another cool thing about the beat effects display is you can save up to 4 effects. I got echo, transformer, flanger, and reverb here because that's what I picked. You could save 4 effects. So instead of going through scrolling through the selection of all the effects, your favorite effects you could save here for quick triggering of that effect. So that's the beat effects bank. We're going to go back to our waveform mode. The other thing this thing has is it has a feature that was on the DJM-S11 and the DJM-S7 called Smooth Echo. And Smooth Echo is basically just a ducking echo that when you close a channel or you use one of the triggers, see, let's open this up, it'll do an echo. So if I have this on the crossfader, turn this on. Do I have crossfader on? Oh, I have crossfader off. Okay, here we go. So you could do that with music. You could do that with scratching. And what's cool is all your triggers are right here on a visual display of the unit, so you know which ones you're turning on. And I could have just quickly looked at that to know that my crossfader was off when I was doing that. So let's go back to waveform. And the other thing here, we got 6 color effects, the same ones that you see on the DJM-A9. So it has the Pro color effects, and the knobs are right here. And these are nice knobs with the copper top. And all the faders feel nice, tight. It's not loose. It's very smooth for mixing. And the DJ software that it uses, Rekordbox for desktop and performance mode, is available now. That works. Rekordbox Mobile coming in April, and Serato coming in the summer. And just a little reminder, I'm going to switch back to my webcam. Just a reminder that the OPUS-QUAD uses a library called Device Library Plus. It's just something that you have to enable in Rekordbox and convert your existing USB, because if you made a USB stick, you exported, and you made it for a CDJ, you had to convert that USB stick in order to use the new library on the OPUS-QUAD. And you just have to convert it once, enable it once, even if you're just using CDJs and you're not seeing an OPUS-QUAD anytime soon, just check mark it. So that way you can be ready for whenever you use an OPUS-QUAD. So, and that's it. And Jay?
Awesome. Great job, PJ. Really love the deep dive into the OPUS-QUAD. Hearing a lot of people talk, really enjoying it, some of the cool features that are offered on it. So before we get into the questions of it, I'm now aware that I skipped over a couple of things going over the A9. Sheer excitement. It's, the happy hour been a minute thing. So what I wanted to do real quick was, one, point out something that's a little bit similar in that we've changed some of the direction of how you pick up effects. Over here on the A9 in the effects section, you notice it's now all buttons. So now whatever effect channel I want to go to, all I have to do is hit that deck, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, if it's a microphone, a master, my crossfader A or B. So that's changed. The other thing was I mentioned the mic effects. So now I'm going to do my best to show you what the mic effects actually sound like. So I'm going to turn the microphone on, check 1, 1, 1. There we go. So as I mentioned, it now has reverb. So I can turn the reverb down where you really can't notice it, or I can bring it up. You've got a singer, somebody's talking. You want to add a little room ambiance to it. So you've got that option. That's full time. But then, as I said, the S11 came with an echo on the mic that people really enjoyed. So this parameter knob, by turning it, check 1, you'll see I'm picking up an echo. Then we have the pitch effect, which of course the Halloween time is a big one. If you want to do like the little voice, or it puts the lotion in the basket, or it gets the hose, put the money in a bag, leave it at, that kind of thing. And then the megaphone, which maybe it's just me, Pulse, PJ, I'm feeling a little STP, I am kind of effect on this one, but I like that, especially if you've got a hype guy, MC, somebody just wants to talk to the crowd a little bit differently. That's your megaphone effect. So those are the effects on the microphone. Again, megaphone, which gives you the sound of a megaphone. Your pitch effect, which either gives you the low kind of crazy voice or the high pitch kind of little kid voice. And a lot of you may want to leave the echo on just so whenever you're talking to the audience, you get that kind of push. And reverb if you've got singers especially who want to get a little reverb on their voice, or you want to sound like you're in a well somewhere. And that's the mic effects on the DJM-A9. So sorry to interrupt your presentation there, PJ, but now that we have seen the OPUS-QUAD, there's got to be questions. People have got clamoring in the chat asking things.
Let's bring Pulse back. He was monitoring questions. So
Pulse is monitoring. Okay, Pulse is back.
I was. Well, actually, I'm happy you went and talked about those effects again, because there was something that would lead into to my preview, my presentation after. So we'll get into mine in a minute, but let's bring in those questions there, PJ.
I think PJ thinks you have the questions.
Well, I see.
Yeah,
I've only got access to one platform here, and I think I've been answering those as I was chatting in the in Twitch. But PJ, if you've got from the other platforms, let's hear what they have to say.
I'm gonna scroll through them because usually I shoot them. So I think this one is one you can answer. It's pretty long. Does this thing have an issue, the S9, where you activate a pad effect while holding down the effect like roll, then switch to the cue point and pad effect locks in the position on the position?
I think that's what's called a bug.
Yeah.
Yeah, not familiar with that being a.
If you have that problem, hit us up or hit up Serato, and someone will help resolve that.
Have you maybe tried updating the firmware?
Jay's favorite answer is, have you updated the firmware? Have you updated the drivers and you have used the newest version of the software?
Yeah,
yes, quite often it is, yeah.
I drove off the road. Did you update the firmware?
if you're driving a Tesla, yeah.
See? It makes total sense.
So we got some A9 questions.
Like me, you should still update the firmware.
Awesome. So we got some A9 questions. Does this offer Pro DJ Link connection for use with show control connectivity?
Ooh, with show control. Pulse, you want to grab that one?
It does, yeah, absolutely. They're a valuable partner of ours, and we of course have maintained the Pro DJ Link, all the bits and pieces. There is some additional stuff that comes along with that, as we mentioned. With the Stagehand app, there will be some additional things that you can do. So we're kind of taking two different approaches to being able to get data out of the mixer.
Okay. Yeah, I'm excited about that, and I don't want to go too much into it because it's not out yet, but I think once it appears, I think people are going to be thrilled to see what that gives capabilities with this mixer on the fly, wirelessly, within a venue, anywhere. I think it's going to be a big game changer that's going to get people that wouldn't have gone to a mixer to really consider getting this mixer because of that kind of control. So keep watching all of our socials. Again, Pioneer DJ USA. We'll let you know when that app is available, and it's going to do a lot of great things for you. Other questions about either the A9 or the OPUS?
Yep, it's another A9 question. So it was, how does the Pro DJ Link connect when adding two CDJ 3000s?
So I can answer that one.
Yep.
Use Ethernet switch. Yeah, you can either connect your players directly from one to the other if you want to just use the direct connections, but because the mixer doesn't have the room for adding all those additional ports for the other players, your best bet's to use an inexpensive switch. Recommend a gigabit switch because you have the highest bandwidth for the connectivity, but they're not expensive, so that's the way to go.
Okay, and we got another question. Kuvo integration yet? I think that would be about the A9.
Kuvo integrated into it? No. But if you wanted to use Kuvo, of course, running a hard-lined Ethernet connection with a Kuvo box and then integrating the box into the set, that's certainly a possibility.
Yeah, or using a record box and
Kuvo box inside.
Yeah, using the record box in performance mode will still do the Kuvo linking for your account. So if you're using that, it is kind of professional technology for the Kuvo club systems, but yeah, for the personal stuff, yeah, it's going to be just your direct connection. So record box.
And just remember, when you're doing that, when you're in Record Box DJ, which of course I use, you want to make sure you're clicking public, not private, on your songs, because that's what I found. A lot of people at clubs where I've worked will have it set to private, and then the tracks won't be broadcast. So, and again, remember, it's only the data, not the actual audio. So if I've produced a new song and I want to let the crowd hear it, it'll see it data-wise, but it won't on the app pick up the actual name of it. I know when Tall and Tan toured in, where were we, Pulse? We were in Europe. We were using Kuvo at a lot of clubs because we had new remixes of things. And it picked it up, so it allowed people to go to whether iTunes Direct, Beatport, and they could buy directly what our new tracks were. Anything on the OPUS?
Yeah, one last question. I guess we know how we answer this question. Any controller to replace a DDJ-200? Entry level wise, we have the DDJ-FLX10, and we have the DDJ Rev 1 currently. So,
200 is still there as well. So
yeah, the 200 is there as well. So the 200 is the one where it's Bluetooth to the device, or you can do USB to the device, but it doesn't have its own sound card.
Right. And as always, we are always working on future generations of products, but can't speculate, nor do we want to give any misinformation. So the only time you'll really hear us discuss an actual product is when that product is released, it's in our hands, and we can go over the entire thing with you, making sure you don't get some early leak, wrong info, or make determinations and decisions on buying based on things that aren't true. So you'll hear us say that a lot. I know people get frustrated. Oh, are you going to make this? You know, we're always trying to make the best possible equipment for the DJ. We are a DJ company. That's the passion. And we want DJs to only better themselves through the hardware, through the software, through the speakers. We're the only company that makes a software, a hardware, and a speaker. And those of you like me understand the strongest form in nature is a triangle at 33. What? I'm not making that up. What do you think?
It's true. It's true.
It is true. Therefore, the fact that I can play Record Box DJ, which I use, through this gear, through my speaker, I mean, how could a situation be any better or any stronger? I say it couldn't. Anything? Anything?
We got one more question. This one's the Opus, but this one I'm going to direct to you, Pulse. Any chance slip mode will come to the OPUS-QUAD via firmware?
I don't know. We've seen the feedback, but don't have any information on whether or not that's something that will be added. There's always questions about what features can be included via an update versus what has to be included at the time of launch. And we've been in a fortunate situation that a lot of things can be added through updates, but there's also the expectation, thanks to Apple and their continuous rollout of new things that come via updates, that people think they're ultimately infinitely updatable, but that's not always the case. So if that doesn't meet your needs, then please do take a look at one of the other products we have.
You could do OTA on that over the air.
Awesome. And we'll do the next set of questions after we do the Flex 10.
Okay, because we did pick up a question from Mr. Johnson had asked something about how are the decks and responsiveness compared to CDJs, and I know you, PJ, have used CDJs as well as the OPUS-QUAD. So maybe give it just a first impression of how it felt compared to a CDJ.
So I personally, I like to do the Peter Piper routine and kind of like I use it as a lip. I use it as a litmus test for a jog wheel, and if I could do it on it, it's a great jog wheel to me. So I can easily do it on the OPUS-QUAD. So
that says it all.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to let those of you that don't know, PJ is coming up on the 1 millionth time he's filmed himself doing the Peter Piper. So we're going to have a special
million views.
Yeah.
Hey, I held off for 2 years, so.
Right. Did you really?
Yeah, I held off purposely for 2 years.
No, he does. Look him up. I've seen him do it on SB3s. He can do it on anything. He did it on 2 spoons and a string at that Thai restaurant. Remember, Christian, where were we? Guam? Yeah, it was pretty shocking. So if that's it for questions now, I think what we'll do is kick it up to the Great White North, to the man, the myth, the legend that is half of Tall and Tan touring groups, Pulse, to bring us up to today's release. Today at this time, you now are capable of picking up a DDJ-FLX10 with some amazing features. So Pulse, take it away.
Yeah, I could show you this all day long and you'd think it's the same thing, but no, this is the DDJ-1000, and I've got it sitting here on top of the Flex 10 just to give you a little bit of an indication as to how these size up to each other. Now, width-wise, don't worry about this. What you can see here at the corners where it looks like it's skewed out and it's a little bit wider, that's the camera angle. It's fooling you because the only difference here is actually the height. There is just about an inch difference at the top. So if you've got a bag or a case for your DDJ-1000, the Flex 10 is going to fit in there. So let's bring that guy out there. Let me get rid of the 1000. Now, people have asked, is this the replacement for the 1000? Yes, of course it is. Look at it. It looks almost exactly the same. Is it the replacement for the 1000 SRT? Yes, of course it is. We've consolidated two products into one because we've brought both the Serato and Rekordbox users together into this one product. And I'm excited that it's finally unified, because I hated having to choose between which product I wanted to take, depending on what event I was doing, because they both have their merits, and finally we have this unified controller. So, of course, one of the things that everyone saw on online, speculation, leaks, releases, and advanced information. I know Jay has a lot to say about those kinds of things online, but I'll throw it in here. Just wait for us to release it. You know what? It's great to speculate, but I watched so many videos where people had so much stuff wrong about what these things are and what they do, what these features are, and how it's going to work. Just wait. We'll give you all the goods. You know, that's what we're here for. So it was great, because I also saw a lot of hype around the parts, which we do now have in Rekordbox, which I'll bring in a little bit here. But let's just take a look briefly at the controller. There's lots of videos that were released today, so if you haven't watched any of those, including a great one by PJ, definitely go and check those out. So I'm going to give you the quick run through. Everything on here, like I said, is very familiar from what you've seen on a DDJ-1000 body, but we do, of course, now have the part buttons, so you can jump in directly to your drums, your vocal, your instruments, and those are on each deck. The rest of the functions around the jog are pretty familiar, with the exception of mix point, and I'll get into what those do in a little bit. The jog display, as you can see here, two waveforms, that is new. You only had a single waveform before, but now, of course, you've got double. There's a little bit of additional information in there that will show up, and I'm not going to tell you what those things are. I want you to explore and learn and find out, because there's some great stuff that's hidden away inside. But let's jump ahead. So the effects will always work in the normal way. So you've got, for example, reverb. So if I cut out the audio on the right channel, you have a reverb there. But if I want it only on that part, of course I don't have a cue for it, but if I wanted to reverb only on the vocals, so as soon as I get to the end of that break, you can hear right now there's no reverb happening, because there's actually no vocal, but Barbra Streisand. So you can hear now I only have reverb on the one vocal part. So you've got the ability to select any of those parts, but it's per channel. So you're not doing vocal beat effects on one and then a drum beat effects on another. Whichever one you have selected affects all the effects and your sound color effects as well. So if I did drums, for example, I'm going to turn off my beat effect and I'm going to use my color effect on a filter. I'm going to bring this back up. I'm filtering only the drums. Barbra Streisand. So you can filter them in and out on a specific part, or again, if you want to mute the vocals, you can affect just that. And that applies to all of the beat effects and the sound color effects. But that's not all that's happening in the mixer section. The other thing that you've got here, which you don't have in some of the other hardware or software, is the ability to do a part isolator. So what you do is you hold the shift button and you hit one of the cue buttons, and when it blinks, you know you're in isolation mode for your EQs. So when I bring this up, you've got drums, you've got your vocals, you've got your instruments. So you've got the ability to dial them in and out directly, as opposed to just pressing a full mute or an isolation up by the active part. Now, one of the things you might have just seen there is as I changed which part I was selecting, the jog ring LEDs changed as well. So if I mute the drums, I'm left with green and red. Well, green and red in LED world means yellow. And if I take out the vocals as well, I'm left with only the red, so the instruments are showing here. And what's great about that is it gives you the ability to visually identify which track is located where. So if you have all of your parts loaded here, what I'm going to do is actually instant doubles the vocal to this side. And now you can see I've got the drums and the instrument here, and I've put the instant doubles. Let me change this over to that view, that one. I've put the vocals onto this track, onto this deck. So the instant doubles split the vocals off, so they're only on this side. And you can see, let's bring this in. Now I can see the waveform. Here comes, so I've got a different channel. Barbra Streisand. So there's my audio from from the one deck that's showing. And what you can see in the waveforms is that, let me just cut to a full view here. The top deck that's playing is just the drums and instrument, and the bottom deck is just the vocal. So you'll see that the waveform is affected by that as well. So let me bring in the drums, and now you can see that on the bottom deck you've got the drums and the vocals, and so there is a difference in the visual waveform. Whether you've got it set to RGB, the blue mode, or the 3-band, it will show you those differences, and it even reflects the status of the decks within the various settings here. So here I've got the part ISO that is enabled on deck 2. You can see that's illuminated. If you had your mixer turned off, that would disappear, but you can see those, as well as the status within the just below the deck for the various parts. So let me close that back and load this guy back up, and I'll show you some other stuff. Any questions before I move on, PJ? We doing okay here?
Yeah, we're doing okay. Go ahead.
All right. All right. So one of the fun things that has been included in the new version of Rekordbox, and it's come along with the mix point select feature, is with the Flex 10 is the mix point select feature. What this does is it gives you the ability to focus more on the performance. Now, obviously, with all of these new things and the part selection and the new effects, there's a lot of stuff that can be going on at one time. You don't want to miss a mix point. So what you can do is predetermine a mix point by setting that in your software using the mix point select. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to play Barbra Streisand over here, and watch as it freezes on me. I have lost that track. Okay, let's maybe my hard drive disconnected. There we go. Okay. So with Barbra Streisand playing, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to mix out at the B point, and I'm going to do that automatically. I am going to mix in the B point of Booyah, but what I'm going to do first is I'm going to hit one of the white buttons on the mix point select on this deck, and what you'll see in the software, as well as on the jog, is it sees the two B points, and it tells me it's 21 seconds away, 20, 19, and I can pick any one of the points I want, and you can see that hopping around. I'm going to pick B, and I'm going to press link. Now, what you'll see is that both of the waveforms started playing there because it's lined them up so that it knows where to do the transition. It had to start playing one, and if I had the faders open, you'd hear both of these going. I'm going to wind it back and do this again just to give you a demonstration, because sometimes you go, wait a minute, what just happened there? So I'm going to do it immediately off the start of this track so I can show you that the track doesn't start playing right away. So once again, I'm going to exit the mix link. So I'm going to start playing, and I'm going to link the two together. So I'm going to press that one. I'm going B to B. I hit link. So now we've got audio, and I'll show you how this works. In fact, I'm going to show you without drums and without instrument. We're going to do it just straight up with the vocals coming off of Booyah. And so what I said is it's linked the two tracks to meet up at the B point. It knows when it has to start playing Booyah in order for those two tracks to start and line up at the same time. So there it goes. It started all by itself. Now I'm going to bring this down a little bit. I don't like the intro part. And there is actually a silent mode. So if you want to link these two tracks silently, it would not play them until they met at the B point, which you see coming up here. I'm going to take the vocal out of the other track. So it starts the mix automatically, but you do still need to do this part. So it is a great tool that you can chain from one to the next using these points, which gives you, like I said, more accessibility for access to all these performance features that are on the Flex 10. So a great way to really work the mix is to set these points. Now, of course, all these rely on you having hot cues that are on the tracks. So my recommendation is at the very least, set yourself a pair of hot cues or memory points, one at the beginning and one at the end, and points that you would normally mix a song in and out, and it will definitely help you with being able to transition and start to use this feature. Other thing I want to tell you about on the product, of course, is that it does have a DMX feature built in. So RB DMX box is built directly into the Flex 10. I wish I could show you this right now, but I know that we don't have a ton of time, but it does give you control built into the unit. So you can set up one of your pad modes to be a lighting control for Rekordbox lighting. All of the songs, when you analyze them, they get a phrase analysis. You can set the custom lighting, you can do overrides, all kinds of fun stuff. Set your fixtures in the lighting software, and then perform all in one piece of hardware and software. Now, we do have a Rekordbox lighting masterclass coming. I know a lot of you watched our Rekordbox masterclass, which excluded that because honestly, it's about an hour in itself. I know the Rekordbox masterclass is an hour, and it just, we couldn't fit it in. So it's a separate masterclass that is coming. But this is the Flex 10, and let's hear those questions. What do we got? What's hot?
All right, I'm back.
Wow.
Jay's back.
Wow. That was amazing. Seriously, great deep dive into it, Christian.
Oh, that's scratching the surface. PJ deep dive on his video. I think, like I said, go and watch that. If you haven't seen it yet, go and watch it after the stream. Definitely worth checking out because he goes in a little bit more than I just did. But let's get those questions, because I know even if you've seen his video or you just sat through this demo, there's people who have questions.
No problem. I'm going to pull up the questions, but just one little thing, Christian, you do have a little bit of echo. So, but what were you saying, Jay? Go ahead.
I was just saying about the echo and the fact that A-Track is from Canada, so that would make a lot of sense.
Check 1 2. Is that better?
You still have echo. It happened when you brought out your screen. But I'll go ahead and start the question.
Weird.
So the question is...
Oh, I know it's from there. Better?
What? Yeah, there we go. What is the size of the jog on the DDJ-FLX10?
It's this big. This big. So I don't have a banana for scale. It's the same size as the DDJ-1000. Let me bring this back in here. One sec. So you can see. Let's put it this way on top. So they are
the same size as the CDJs.
Yeah, exactly the same size. So the finish is just slightly different from that of the 1000. It doesn't have the ridges are a little bit more pronounced on the 1000 than they are on the Flex 10. The sides are similar in style to that of the Flex family. However, this nice coating does make it feel a lot more like the 1000. So I really do like this jog. It feels good. It has the feeling adjust, and it does give you a good sense of performance.
Awesome. And I think this next question came during your presentation. I wasn't sure which product it was at first. And these live filters work on Rekordbox, as this was literally a discussion 2 days ago about how that was only available in Serato. So
yeah,
I think
so let me just bounce back to 1 second here, bouncing between my different sources. Okay, so one of the things that they focused on with Rekordbox in the stems is the speed at which you can actually jump into any of the stems. So if I go and grab a track, let's actually pull Freaks is off of Tidal. I'm going to load that one, and you can see it loading the track. And I'm going to hit play, and I'm going to go to that's instrument right away. So that's the instrument only, and I can jump ahead. It's already done it. Some applications will take some time to process the track. Let's load Sandstorm here. Hit play. I hit play, and I've gone to drums, and you can see it's already. These are not pre-analyzed. Some software gives you the ability to pre-analyze. Rekordbox has taken a balance of the analysis speed and audio quality and given you the best of both worlds. So this will actually run pretty well even on an older computer. You don't have to have an M2 to be able to do part analysis. It will run, and by the way, I haven't shown you Serato, but these same things do work in Serato the same way. And I know I'm sort of talking around the answer here, but the vocal button works, the drums button works, but the instrument does bass and melody together. You can still do pad mode to get all four. But the stem analysis does work even without the Flex 10 in Rekordbox on the computer. So if you're using another device, you can have access to these as well.
Awesome. JS Rock asks, how do we access this Rekordbox masterclass? And I think he's specifically referring to, because you mentioned the lighting.
Yeah. So the Rekordbox masterclass is on the Pioneer DJ USA YouTube channel. You can find that. Just look for the thumbnail with the smiling face on it. And the lighting masterclass will be available sometime probably in the next month.
I've done a bunch of stuff with record box lighting. I could probably jump in there too.
Jay will answer questions for you. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. This is white. This is blue. This is red. You know, there's some questions that need answering. Now, you put the 1000 on top of it. So looking at it, I don't have a case near me. So this will fit directly into a 1000 case.
It depends on the case you've got. If you've got a little bit of foam at the back or even the room for all your connectors, it might be able to squeeze in if you modify that with the foam just a little bit. It's, like I said, it's about an inch, getting my head out of the way, an inch different in the front to back sizing. But the width-wise is the same, the height is the same. So yeah, you'll be right at home. It's just a matter of whether or not it fits into your custom case or coffin or whatever you got.
I mean, I had a DDJ-FLX10 case that I made a couple of small cuts in the foam, and that case now holds a DDJ-1000 SRT.
Yeah.
So
trying to see my SX over on the side there, standing beside the 1000 SRT. They're very close in size, and I would say if you had a case that it might fit into it. They're pretty close.
You can make a small adjustment if needed. I just think with all of us that are, you know, really full-time or part-time working DJs, it's a consideration to know that you can now take something and put it right in the case that you're already utilizing, and just you're off to the gig. But yeah, there's a lot of excitement about this piece. And I know when I look at stems, we've had this talk, you know, you get to a wedding now or an event where somebody wants an instrumental of a song you don't have. You kind of have it now.
Yeah.
And the ability to kill the vocals line, you know. I've even
and I'll give a pro tip on this one. If you put the reverb on the vocals, just a dash of reverb, you kind of, you know, soften out the sound so that, you know, because a lot of people are talking about the quality, and it's going to get better. That's the thing. Every one of us who's working stems in their software, it's going to get better with time, and adding just a little bit of reverb on there totally softens it up and makes it beautiful for mixing over an instrumental, or whether you're creating the instrumental yourself.
Right. Well, and I
So
think
if you have that,
people that, when I first brought up the topic and it was brought up by other companies, you know, a lot of people in my genre of doing weddings are like, when would I ever want to use this? And I'm like, I see a lot of
All
great
the time
when mixing, when creating instrumentals that don't exist right now, even when taking out the vocal while you speak over the music so you don't have dead air, and then immediately going back to bringing the vocals in. Something as simple as that really changes the dynamic of how the DJ is perceived by the audience and the crowd. So I think this is something that's really going to grow, and I can't wait to see how DJs are using this in the videos they post, because I'm excited for what I can learn from them. So,
and when the uncle at the wedding wants to karaoke, that means you can actually make it happen.
Wrong group, dude. Maybe out there in the wilderness of snow and ice and lightsabers, but not here in, no. Yeah. And
okay, we got
easiest way, I'll give everyone the $1 million pro tip. This is a Shure SM58 microphone. This one in particular is 23 years old. I have two of them. One is 2 years old, one is 23. But if you look at it on camera, you'll notice I don't have any of the singing switches. This is a speaking mic only. If it were a singing mic, it would change the vocal range and the mid so I could utilize it to give to someone at a wedding or an event to sing. That line has worked 100% of the time that somebody has begged me to do karaoke at a wedding. And I've said, I didn't bring a singing mic. I only brought a speaking mic. It won't make the voice sound good in that mid range, at which 100% of the response is, oh, okay. Well, thanks anyway. You're welcome. And I'm really sorry I didn't bring a singing mic. I only brought a speaking.
Next time.
Oh, I've got video of me saying it. People have shot video of me saying it to people, and I didn't know they were videotaping. And it's like, oh, well, but thanks for trying. I'm like, I apologize. Not really.
Okay. Moving on with the questions. Fellas, are we done with massive announcements for this year? That's to be announced.
Yes. We can't.
Yeah, we can't announce if we haven't announced things. That's what
to be announced.
Here's the best thing that you'll find with all three of us. If you met us at a show, actually when we were at the MEX show, we had the announcement, that teaser for the A9 came out, and people were coming up to us showing us the photos saying, hey, do you have it here? Can we get a sneak? We're like, Sorry, no. And they're like, well, can you tell us anything? I'm like, I can tell you I have one at home and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
We will straight up lie to your face and say we don't know anything about anything. But just know that Pioneer is listening to the feedback you guys are giving about these products right now for the next product that we're working on. And we're always working on the next thing, no matter what it is: headphones, a controller, a player, a mixer. So definitely provide the feedback. Positive is always taken better than that negative stuff. But yeah, lay it on us. We'd love to hear what you guys want.
We monitor all of the social media. We monitor YouTube. We monitor the forums, anything and everywhere that you can go and make a comment. Maybe not on certain platforms where we're not monitoring as closely, but if there's something that you need to do your job better, that's what this is. These are tools for artists like you to go out and have a great living, do your job, entertain people. And we listen. I've asked for a cup holder for years. Apparently, it's not something that was deemed that important.
No, remember the old Denons had those. It was a tray, a rack mount, or the thing, your cup holder would
that
pop
thing
out.
that popped out. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Newmark, they all had those.
No, but really, I mean, we're not doing this to make gear for future releases because somebody looks at it and says, wouldn't it be cool? It's a DJ voice that we're listening for. And that's you. That's the end user. We're full-time DJs. You guys know, any of those that know me personally, I love what I do, and I'm a DJ. Pulse is a DJ. PJ, he does something here and there, but he plays.
Hey, come on.
Oh, he's a DJ. He's a very good DJ, but the lightsaber thing gets in the way. I'll be honest with you. But,
wait till my video tomorrow.
Our information back, but there's a point where we need your voice as well, and we need you to say, this is really cool, but this would really help me at my job. Pulse and I have these talks all the time, along with PJ. I'd love this button because this is what it would help me do at a wedding or at a bar mitzvah or at a quinceanera or whatever event I'm doing. So, we can't say whether we have more announcements. We do have the NAMM show coming up. Time of filming, NAMM is in 3 weeks. It's in April this year. It's the 13th, 14th, 15th, Thursday, Friday, Saturday at the Anaheim Convention Center. Next January 2024, it goes back to the traditional Thursday to Sunday 4-day show, the third week of January. Normally is. But, we're going to be showing all the new gear that we have here at the NAMM show. We'll be shooting videos there. 2 days after NAMM ends, we'll be doing another happy hour, and we'll be doing a little bit more in depth. And by then, you'll have other questions, things you've seen, videos you've seen. But we do our best to get all that information out to you. Our next big show after that will probably be the Expo show in August.
Expo, yeah.
If you follow us on social media, Pioneer DJ USA for all channels, you'll see we'll announce things ahead of time. We're not a big company for, asking people to leak things because it doesn't make sense. We want you to get the best information and the correct information. We don't want speculation because it doesn't help you make critical decisions about your business or your enjoyment as a DJ. So we're not on that side of the fence. We're on the side of, here's what we have, here's how you use it, and you can reach out to us. I'll give you PJ's home phone number before this. We're both
and just Star Wars fans. But before we jump on to the next question, I'll just sort of address that. A lot of people were saying things like, when Serato had released stems, that sort of got the momentum rolling. And I said, guys, that Virtual DJ had this kind of feature and Algorithm DJ had this kind of feature, but it wasn't until there was like critical mass was achieved. And then of course everyone was like, well, when are you going to do it? When are you going to? I got news for you. We'd been working on it for a long time. A lot of these products take a couple of years. And that's one of the other things I saw in comments today was the Flex 10. Oh, great. Another product we can't buy. Well, they're saying that in relation to things like the 1000 and the 1000 SRT, which were produced prior to the pandemic, before all these things happened. And it was not just the warehouse in Japan that caught fire in 2020 that we're still reeling from and trying to recover and move on to new parts, but also the pandemic shutdowns for manufacturing, supply chain shortages, all these things. These units were produced during the pandemic. We actually went to manufacturers and the parts sourcing while the pandemic was on, so we knew what was available and planned ahead from there. So guys, if you're worried about stock on this one, it's only because everyone who was waiting for a 1000 is now rushing to go and get one of these, and it's popular and they want to get the new stems control. But do know that we are hoping to get ahead of that curve this year and be able to get this gear in your hands, because we know how desperate it is, and we do, like as this is also including, take into consideration these things have been planned for a couple of years. So comments now are not going to appear in a piece of product this year, but we do file those things away and take those the feedback in those comments to make our future gear better. So thank you. Please do continue to give us a hard time about whatever feature it is you want to see, because if enough people are asking, it makes it in the product.
Yeah, and as Paul said, just like you want to cover every gig you can. You don't want to turn business down. We want you to get everything you need from us. And if due to world crisis things have changed, we're now getting a little bit back to normal, I think, in the realm of, I've already seen people out talking about they already bought a Flex 10. It only got announced last night at midnight. And I've already gotten a phone call. Can't wait to get this. I just bought it. I'm like, really? Yeah, it's being shipped right now. I've got a guy down the street's got an OPUS-QUAD. I've seen A9s out in the environment. So the newer gear might seem like it's coming out faster, but don't think we've abandoned the older products. We haven't. We're still working on getting everybody everything they bought, they want to buy. We want everyone working. Again, we're DJs for DJs. This is what we live for. We want you to go out and play music. We want the world to be affected by how we can give you equipment that you can go make people joyous and happy. So any other questions that have come up?
Yep, we do have a couple questions. DJ Don Rafa, is it possible to have, and I think this is for the Flex 10, is it possible to have two XLR combo jacks for mic, and it's only one combo jack, one TRS jack for the secondary, but they're both balanced?
Yeah, so, well, you'll notice on the OPUS-QUAD, it's a dual combo. Combo. As DJs, Jay will tell you, we fight for these things when we have product planning meetings, and we talk with our engineers and planners about the features that are going into things. And we have fought hard to get two mics on almost every one of our products, and that's because we know that working DJs need to have one for themselves, one for the wedding party or the MC or whoever, and we know that. Yeah, the combo jack is a better option, but it's quite often it's a matter of the cost or spacing inside. So we will continue to fight for you guys to get combo jacks for all microphones. So thank you for the feedback.
Yeah, and the 1/4-inch mic input, out of maybe 65 weddings last year where I had to use two mics simultaneously, you couldn't tell on a bride, an officiant and a groom on lobs.
It's all about the convenience, though. Yeah, I get it.
There was no sense.
We're in the same boat.
I can hear this one differently than I hear that one. So don't view it from that perspective. Pulse and I were talking the other day. I did wedding ceremonies for 3 years with a DJM-400 that had RCA out to 1/4-inch into the speaker. Sounded great. Played great. Prelude music. Mic sounded great. Just, I know people get stuck on XLR and combos. We're not trying to give you bad audio. And if you really listen closely, you're not going to pick it up.
Yeah, it's more the convenience factor, and we get it. Yeah.
Better ears than I do. And that's from years of touring Asia and Europe with Pulse, my partner in Tall and Tan.
All right. So next question. Whoops, lost my place for a second.
Lots of questions.
Come on.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. Okay.
It's been a while. We of course. It's been a hiatus.
Are you able to access these filters without the Flex 10? So
you want to take that one? Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely it's built into Rekordbox. You can even map it to existing controllers. But there's certain features on the Flex 10 that you can't do on previous devices. For example, like the parts ISO, the parts instant doubles, the beat effects with the effects part select, where you can select a part, a stem, and apply the effects to just that. That's all Flex 10 specific features. But as far as triggering, that's all hardware features.
Yeah.
But stem separation, it is in Rekordbox and it is in Serato, and can be used with some limitation, to trigger on and off with existing software. With existing hardware.
Right. And I think the A9 is a great example of that kind of question, because it's the technology that moves us forward that we adapt. I remember when the Tour 1 came out, and the big thing was, ooh, it's got 2 different headphone inputs with multiple cues for each channel. Well, now here we are today with the A9 that has 2 headphone setups with cueing on each channel for either headphone. That technology on the higher end products always works its way down. That's just the reality of moving forward with technology. So something like PJ's talking about, where it's hardware now today on that, who's to say in a couple of years where that will be on hardware? You know, I think we're good on the questions. Or
If
Let's
you just
just
want to
take.
go to full screen on mine for a second there, PJ, I just want to show
Yep,
you
I got
show
you.
the users. Yeah, so one of the things, I've just disconnected the Flex 10 from the USB, and you can see in performance mode with the mouse and keyboard, you do have the part ISO available here, so you can click in and out of that, and these will now be your vocal mute. You do have the buttons for direct control, so individual part selection is available there. And even up in the effects, you've got the same buttons that you have onto the right of the beat effects and the color effects are available for those use. So that's direct with mouse and keyboard. Some of these things cannot be MIDI mapped, but you can get access to those things.
excellent. I've got a question that came in on my chat line from Mildred Vlamowitz, if I'm saying that correctly, Mildred. She wants to know, if you do stems in Rekordbox, does it increase the storage space on the hard drive? She's heard that that does happen with other programs. I don't know if you want to speak about that, Pulse.
Yeah. So it's a little bit, but it's not much. It's not something you need to go, oh my gosh, my hard drive is going to balloon because you're doing it. Like I mentioned earlier, if you did pre-analysis in another software where it does have to create different copies, that would be something that is going to take up the room. But a lot of this is done sort of on the fly and as needed, so it's not going to massively increase the space that's required for your library.
Right. Now, if I have a 2015 pretty strong, robust, let's say MacBook Pro, could I be doing stem work with that?
Yes, your 8-year-old laptop, Jay, would still work to do stems.
Well, I don't know if,
I thought
It
it was a
might not
MacBook
work
Air.
so well with Serato, but yeah, no, Rekordbox
I'll
will
bring him
definitely
on
handle it.
camera, but this is the backup, a daily driver of mine that
Yeah.
is a
That's
2000.
the unicorn MacBook Air, if anyone's
Yes.
wondering.
This is my 2013 MacBook Air that is backed up every gig I've done for 10 years. So
Yeah.
load for the
No,
Air.
you're definitely going to get better performance out of a newer computer, but like it's like that with anything. If you already found that your software or your computer was struggling with the software to do
Right.
your daily regular DJing stuff, it's definitely going to have a harder time with stems, with the part
Okay.
separation.
It makes sense that it would. It's just, do you want to make an upgrade on that end, or do you want to try and stems first and see how things go?
Yeah.
You can always make that upgrade later, and things have gotten affordable in that realm anyway. So I don't think it's something to lose sleep over. But Mildred had asked, and I got her over here on the chat. I wanted to make sure I addressed that.
Awesome.
Any
And one,
Sir.
somebody pulled up a question. Oh no, that was just a statement. Okay. Last question.
Okay.
Would a clear case design for the DDJ-1000 work for the Flex 10 as well?
Clear case, like a deck
Clear
saver?
case design. I'm not sure what that.
Maybe a deck saver they're talking about.
Deck
Yeah,
saver.
that would be a cover.
You know what? It would it would probably just be a little bit small because the depth of the unit is about this much more.
Yeah, I'm looking at it from this angle. It's over off camera in the studio, and yeah, I don't know that it would exactly fit.
Yeah.
Of course, you can hit up DeckSaver, great company that we've worked with, and they've got.
Well, I'm going to go back over to my overhead here.
Do you have a DeckSaver from a 1000 there?
I do not, but just to show you, the front of these units are lined up here. So the width is exactly the same, but you can see this is the height difference is
Right.
that little bit. And because the position of the knob ends up being slightly out, so it's pushed up this direction, I don't think that the DeckSaver would fit, because it would, even if it was cut to the size of this, it would end up sitting here. So a clear top would definitely not fit. But if you have a case where you've got room in the back for your cables to connect, you should have no problem in getting a Flex 10 into that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And just another great reason to get it, so you don't have to upgrade cases and everything like that. If you have to get a new DeckSaver, that's a great investment, keeping dust and other things off the unit. It's only going to help you out in the longevity of the equipment anyway. if that is it for the questions, I think we're going to do what we like to call here in the industry, wrap it up.
Oh,
But
one last shout out from Matt Davis to Pulse. Let's load Sandstorm.
I've disconnected it. I've unplugged it to show the mouse clicky stuff. Sorry, Matt.
wow,
I can do this though.
think of other stuff he could be doing now, or he's got that much free time now. That's great for him. That's
Vila's
great.
going to call me up and ask for his royalties now.
Well, you know what? And we'll pay him. He's a friend of Happy Hour. He's been on the show, as you know.
It's true, yeah.
2:30 in the morning his time, and yeah, I'll show up. What about questions?
Yeah, he was here in Des Moines. Yeah.
He's there now?
No, he was here a month ago.
Did you see him?
Yep, went to go see him.
Oh, how was it?
It was a great show. It was the biggest one at that club. So.
Oh wow. No, he's a great person, great DJ. Yeah, that's its own show. Pulse and I got stories going back to Miami, back in the days when Miami was fun and stuff, and now it's getting all cray-cray. So I don't know. All right, kids. I think I'm going to bid a sweet adieu to PJ and Pulse. Thank them for all their hard work and dedication to the grind that is setting up the Happy Hour show. This was about 3 months in the making. Got my production team, of course, JP, amazing man, got everything set up about 7 minutes, and we're up on the air. So can't thank him enough. Of course, any of the equipment that you saw today that you're considering buying, pioneerdj.com. We've got a shop now. Find a store. You can get it through us directly or any of the stores online you normally use. If you want to see more of this show or anything else we've done, Pioneer DJ USA. That's our handle on all social media. Again, Twitch, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all of it. Pioneer DJ USA. I did mention NAMM is coming up. NAMM is April 13th, 14th, 15th at the Anaheim Convention Center. We will be there. We will be filming. We'll be posting every day. We have a really cracked video crew that's going to be putting some product out. You've probably seen some of our videos from last NAMM, last June. We're going to be doing that again this year. And on Tuesday after NAMM, so the 18th, I believe, we're going to do another happy hour where we're going to kind of deep dive the equipment, but also open it up to questions. So if you've got questions for us for that show, by all means, hit us up on Instagram, Facebook. Even when this video hits YouTube as a video, if you got a question, put it there. We'll do our best to get those all answered then. So for everyone here at Pioneer DJ, I want to thank you for watching today. Stay well, stay safe. That's going to do it for us. Till we see you again. Peace.